Ethos of Silence.
A veteran podcast aims to amplify the voices of veterans, creating a safe space for authentic conversations about their experiences, challenges, and triumphs. We seek to break the stigma surrounding mental health and foster community support, resilience, and understanding. Through storytelling, expert insights, and candid discussions, we strive to inspire healing, promote awareness, and empower veterans on their journeys.
Welcome.
It was my cousin. It was. Why am I here? Why did God have us here? And that old conversation. Why did God allow this? And I'm like, oh wait, you're saying all the words. Hold on.
Yeah, you're saying all the words and you're starting to put blame on something. You don't want to start to place the blame game, because when you start playing the blame game, you start pointing fingers. We're not trying to point fingers. We're not trying to isolate why or any of that stuff. All we're doing is trying to give ourselves the motivation to continue, the motivation to make the next day, know that the next day is going to be better. That's it.
That's it. Those folks can get into that unanswered predicament where it's just not clear on that answer, and they just go right to. Yeah, I guess that's the coping mechanism. I feel it leads to worse things. It does.
Well, but that's what all coping is. Coping is masking. Mm-hmm. Masking is putting this face on for the world. And it's awesome to put on a face for the world. It's awesome to smile and change the flow of a room and all that other different stuff. It's awesome to have that kind of charisma. Mm. But until you have the internal intestinal fortitude to face what you have going on, instead of putting on this mask for the world, until you do the self-work, it doesn't matter what kind of mask you put on for everybody else. Yeah. You have to do the self-work.
Yeah.
And you yourself is the only one who knows what you need to work on. It's like if you have the balls to go sit down with a therapist, awesome, good job. But as soon as you walk in that room, if you tell them that you're having a great day and this is this and this is this and that's that, and it's like, you're sitting there as if you're having and drinking a beer with them, you just wasted that session when you possibly could have made some progress on different things going on in your life, different things that have happened in your life before. It is awesome that you're having a good day when you go there. Yeah. And it sucks when you're having a bad day and you go there too, because nothing gets done and you're this little mopey ball of nothingness. And the only thing they can do is feel sorry for you and be like, hey, dog, you need to go home and get some sleep. Like you need to go home, press the reset button, wake up tomorrow, and you'll have a better day.
The old saying, if you want something new, try something new, it's grounds for everything.
Yeah.
You want to change in your front of your face from the things you're doing, then go change it. It starts with little simple things. Whatever builds you up. If instead of going and sitting and watching the television for 4 hours, take 30 minutes and do a chair exercise. I don't know, something different.
But you're right. You're right.
Move in the direction that they want to go. Little bit at a time, little crawls out of it. Most people that got into that deep situation, they didn't get there just one jump. It took little moves to get all the way. It's going to take
incremental forward progress to make your way there.
Back there.
Even if you end up having to take a couple steps backwards, you're still further forward than what you were a couple days from that.
That's right.
So you're going to get there. Yeah. So let's jump into step 1 of the 12 steps.
Let's do it. All right.
It's not fair. I'll play on my phone too.
Here they are. What are the 12 steps of AA? The 12 steps, as outlined in the original big book. Oh no, I don't want to hear Norma's story. Go away, pop up. And presented by Alcoholics Anonymous, include the following. Number 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, and that our lives had become unmanageable. That's that thing, and it's directly about alcohol. That alcohol leaves you that.
But it can be everything. Mm-hmm. Admitting that you have a weakness and that you are powerless against that weakness.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
Admitting that weakness has a power over you, you know? And I mean,
you're right, TJ.
It takes
anything.
It takes a toll to even, you know, to even lower your head enough to want to, as a man, go to counseling and talk with somebody else about an issue, because the world is so rough on you. And, you know, I mean, the only thing that actually speaks is results. As here's Zeus, you know, like,
if you will pet the ear, I will love you.
Right? the give and take loving relationship over here.
Give me all.
Yeah.
I require all of the pets. King Prince Zeus. Yeah, man, that's you hit it right on the head. It is really everything. It's everything. It's your family. It's your relationship to your friend. It's a relationship. Are you if you're having problems and issues with friends, is there something that you yourself can do about it to change that? Are you taking enough time to be thoughtful enough to think, well, I ain't really got no friends, and it's not really working that way? Am I kind? Am I thoughtful? Am I around someone that I want to be kind and thoughtful? Is that relationship reciprocating? Or am I in a vicious thing? When two vicious people get together, they can kind of mask it and be like, yeah, we're doing great together. No,
the best source of self-evaluation is when you ask yourself, am I the type of person I'd want to have a beer with?
Right.
Am I the type of person that I want to go and throw the football with? Am I the type of person that I'd want to go and do these things that I want to go and be doing? Mm-hmm. Am I that type of person?
And am I available? Am I making myself available?
Am I making myself available to be that kind of person?
Yeah. So it's to be a real thought. You know?
I know balancing responsibilities and availability is ridiculous for me, you know.
Well, when you got the time, you're avavelable.
When I have the time, I make the time, and I very quickly make it happen.
You can pivot on a dime, man. Yeah, but then there's no thought about it, but because you understand that value of it.
Because it's important to me.
That's right.
You make the time for what is important. You really do.
And that was a thought that you have ground down into your mind that it's not going to change. You're immovable from that because it's that important to you.
Yeah.
And some people have to make that in their mind over what's in their lives.
The problem is, like, with you and individual priorities, as much as I could want to drop everything to go help certain people with certain problems, I have individual priorities. If something's popping up with different things, you know, work, as much as it is hectic, is a priority in your life to maintain your source of income, because without that, I can't help all the people I help, or provide for all the people I provide for my family, you know?
That's right.
So being able to do whatever it is you do to make money, you cannot sacrifice that for somebody else, no matter if they're family or friends or anything else. Sometimes stuff is business, right?
Can't help somebody from a car that's broke down.
The same thing. Yeah. I can't go pick you up if I don't have gas money, dog. Like I've got to have a roof over my head. I've got to have all these things. Like, some of them might be too lavish, but turns out I work too hard not to have.
I don't know. Has anybody checked the price of stuff lately? You've really got to work to build up what I don't even know what the new number is now for comfortability. Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah. Well,
so you can't stop at it.
Once again, you talk backwards with veterans, and the fact that you know we like things a little more rustic, a little more rugged. We don't really need the most lavish of lavish to excel. But digressing from that, you know, is your responsibilities in prioritizing stuff and dropping things and prioritizing what's important.
Yeah, but that's another thing, is admitting that you don't have control over alcohol or other people's lives. Some people can get immensely controlling about and that's just a fault that comes from that selfishness of having something over and over. And alcohol,
I've got a question for you.
Quickly gives them a quick gratification.
I got a question for you.
I might have an answer.
All right. List off your top 5 priorities in life.
God, family, friends,
that's fine. Is that your top 4?
Family, God, family, friends,
okay,
nation.
Cool.
Yeah,
you know what the problem with that list is? You did not prioritize yourself.
Yeah.
You and your self-care is not on that list.
Yeah.
You cannot provide for anybody else if your self-care is not on that list.
Well, my perspective of the first one that I did involves my self-care, and I know that can be misconstrued with a lot of people, but my self-care comes through God. I get the fulfillment and the enjoyment and the peace and the wholeness that I need to sustain myself from that. So I live vicariously through that. I get what you're saying. I need more.
I understand you. I get you. I get you. So what you're saying is completely different, though. That
you're absolutely
God and your
right.
faith is the source of your happiness, and the fact that you're internally happy allows you to utilize and give some of the happiness to everybody else because you're able to fill your own cup. When you're able to keep your own cup full, you're able to provide the rest of your household with a full cup to be able to be productive members of society.
You got me on that one, TJ.
When you're able to do that, right?
I own up to it. You got me.
But the fact of self-care, and I'm guilty of it too, but I mean, we can talk back about the transmission in the yard, man. You didn't give me a phone call or wait till I was off of work or have me swing through before work or after work just to, hey man, I need 5 minutes to help line this thing up. Like, nah, I'm Superman. I'll figure it out. Bad everything. I'll figure it out. It's all right. You know, like there's times and places that you know.
Yeah, that should not be a practice of mine. If I'm want to live that type of
it doesn't matter, dog. It was a trick question. I'd have answered it the same way.
No, but that's what this talk was about. I mean, if I name off God and family, I guess it wouldn't be selfish to put myself between God and my family, because if I know as God is caring for all of us, and I know I'm taking care of myself, actually, you're 100% right, because that's actually biblical. It's God, then man, and then your family.
Yeah.
God covers man and everything, and man covers all of his family, and I have to take care of myself, and then family takes care of community and friends, and yeah, I mean, that's the priority.
When we're talking about the first step, admitting that you have a problem and taking care of yourself is like the key to continuing, right?
Yeah.
So what's the next step? What's step 2?
Step 2, please. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity.
Okay, so we're admitting that we have an addiction, and we're calling our addiction now an insanity, right? Because since we admit that we have it, we're saying that we're insane for having it because we shouldn't have it, right? It's the same thing with a suicidal thought. I admit that I have the thought, and I'm a fucking insane batshit joker for thinking that I should go and do that.
Yeah, that's that hand in hand with powerless and insanity. Those two is
powerless because I don't have the self-control to control what's going on, and insanity because I want to follow through with the thing that I know is insane. I know it shouldn't be happening. The same with being able to sit down with that person, have that conversation, and let them realize what they're supposed to do all on their own.
Realizing it, and then I guess instead of hyper focus on everything has gone wrong,
visualizing what your next step.
Yeah, focusing on what should be, and knowing that there's a power that's outside of ourselves. That is the faith that can bring me to the place that I want to be.
Well, almost the North Star, man. I'm wearing these compass necklace and the compass. Like. I know the direction I need to take. I just need to stop and acknowledge to myself what direction that is, and is the direction I'm heading in leading me the way I want to go.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So number 3 is I made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. And they have that in italics because that's that almighty knowledge and wisdom that's in this book that many people have known over times, that people have come into a complicated relationship with God the Creator and been angry at him.
So I know how I have a problem. I admit that I'm insane for having the problem, right? So now I need to have faith in this higher power that the problem can be solved.
Yeah.
If I don't have faith in the higher power that the problem can be solved, then
you're living right back inside of yourself.
Because I'm lost.
Yeah, you're lost without it. And I think I don't know. I think that might have been a part of another version of this book, because I remember I thought I remember in the book talking about a higher power made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care.
Dog, it's been 10, probably 15 years since you sat through AA and did all the stuff. Thus,
every time I knew and read these, I was like, I know who you're talking about. I know you're pointing me right to God, and I'm okay with that.
I got it,
which was neat.
But what you need to do is even those who do not have the same level of faith as you deserve the reward of breaking the addiction.
Oh, for sure. And I didn't have it really back then that much. So at 3, as whoever's sitting in that seat understands it, they just need to understand there's something higher than them, right?
Yeah.
So 4, they made a searching with this knowledge of that life is out of control, that they needed to restore what can't be restored in their power, and that there is an available source of wisdom and power that's outside of themselves. They need to, number 4, make a searching and fearless moral inventory of themselves. So that's a big thing.
So I need to take moral stock in myself. Okay. So I admit there's a problem. I admit that the problem is insane. That's why I'm admitting there's a problem. And then I give myself the faith that the problem is out of my hands, but somebody else can solve it for me. Like that it can be solved by a higher power. Like I have to give up the fact that I can physically solve it and it'll be solved by a higher power. Then I need to take a moral inventory of myself.
Yeah.
Seems almost out of order.
Yeah, well, God is what is because.
Well, I mean,
at this point,
because me
no
as a man, I'm lost. I'm telling you, I'm lost. That fucking sucked for me to tell you that I'm lost, right?
I obviously don't have any courage.
I obviously don't have any courage.
If I'm lost.
Well, but at least I'm here. So I mean that's courageous in and of itself.
That's the whole saying.
I'm here asking for help.
The whole saying,
which is me acknowledging, right?
You know, at the end of each saying at the AA meetings, what they say.
What's that?
Keep coming back.
Keep coming back.
That's the coin phrase.
Okay.
Keep coming back. Like you said, even though you feel all these ways, you keep bringing your butt back here, because one day that you sit in this seat, it will occur to you.
So one day it'll all click. Right. Right now it doesn't make sense.
Work the system. Keep. And there's the other one that just rolled off my tongue. Keep working the program, or keep working through it. Keep going forward, like you said, in increments. So they didn't. So you don't have any courage. So God is going to provide the courage for you and help you to gain courage when you're making this fearless moral inventory of yourself. And those are the things when people have been gravely affected by unforgiveness, things that they have done to others, ways that they have regretted all the things that they've had, these great big chains and weights that they have upon them. They have to now look at those. They have to now open that door that has been closed for however many years it's been closed, and then start to look at that and crack the door on it, let it ease out, and take them on one at a time. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves and what we're doing, where we're at, how are we eating, how am I being sustained, what am I doing when I wake up, what am I doing when I go to sleep, how am I treating people, everything you're now looking at and you're making inventory of. And they encourage, and I do encourage it to be.
I encourage journaling all the time.
All the time. I teach Andrea, this is what you need to do. The person I was talking to today, you need to have you want to start a business, you need a book for a business, right? And then you need a book for yourself. Today,
how many books did I give you when you were scatterbrained trying to run all these other different things going on, right?
3 new books.
I gave you 3 new books and told you write in them for your separate things, and it'll separate what's going on in your brain, and
you put me right back,
and you can get back on your path.
Absolutely, I'm on.
But once again, like you,
I got an office full of journal
you
books.
Knew the answer.
Oh yeah,
you just were overwhelmed at the time, and the fact that you had somebody you trust tell you the exact same thing you already knew, you're like, oh, thanks, brother. I got you. We're good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. That's us keeping each other in check.
For sure. Iron rubbeth iron. So, number 5 is admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. And those steps, it doesn't come off as it rolls off the tongue. First, you got to talk to God.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the one where,
but it's very
hey, God,
important
I've been fucking up
that
down
we've been able to take a self-inventory of ourselves, and then we're able to admit where off of that inventory we can improve. Like we're taking that inventory of ourselves and we're able to improve. Like it's almost something that you should do. Like when people set New Year's resolutions and new goals for themselves to achieve, it's like you should take stock in where you started, where you're at, where you want to be, and what steps are going to get you there. But then you should take stock in what has been successful and what hasn't been successful. Double down on what's successful and find somebody else to take care of what you're not good at, right? Like if I focus... I hate paying somebody to cut my yard. I really do. I'd hate to pay somebody to cut my yard. I really would. But if I could go to work and make the money that accounts for the time for them cutting their yard, because I don't have the time off during the week or the time off here or the time off there, it makes sense to pay somebody to cut the grass. Now, it sucks to be the man who is letting somebody else cut your grass and just, like, that's my house, I should be taking care of it type stuff. You know what I mean?
Makes good sense.
Like it hits at my manlyhood to allow that to happen. But that's pride speaking over the fact of logic.
Just pride, because logically you've afforded yourself to be able to do that. So
now I've never afforded myself the luxury of having somebody cut my grass and not worrying about it.
And somebody else needs to get paid and their family needs to make money, so you're providing for that as well.
Exactly.
So they admitted to God that was going on. Maybe like you said, maybe I could have. I'm here. I'm screwed up. I'm at nothing. And maybe now I need to think about that. How I got here. Maybe I should have treated that situation just a little bit differently. Maybe I could have taken upon more responsibility and not allowed someone else to be destroyed.
But you can't go back. You can't go backwards and change that decision. But you can
want to improve.
You can prepare yourself for in the future when similar type things happen. You can take the correct approach.
And that's called, and at the end, that's normally called thoughtfulness for someone who's in control. A little bit of thoughtfulness goes into a long ways into it. So you admitted it to God, and then you admitted it to yourself. Is that right? Admitted to yourself. So, yeah, and I need to change the pattern for the future. And then another person, and that's where it comes in. Now you're practicing it. You're okay, I think I got this. Hey, buddy, there was this one time I did this, and it wasn't great, and what I did was this, and it's being the exact nature of our wrongs. I was wrong for doing that, and I got past it. Okay, man, it's going to be all right. I see you're back on track. You're going to...
So... makes me wonder. So I know that there are more males than females in the military, right? Mm-hmm. Are there more males than females that end up in AA?
Yeah, by far.
Okay.
So I don't say by far, but yeah, I think I'm looking over some of the rooms I've been in, and it's been predominantly males.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
So I wonder if there's just a psyche, just like there's a stigma of a male to actually go to this or go to that, like the reaching for a coping mechanism instead of addressing an initial problem.
Do you know why the devil's called he? Because he's have pride. Women are innately not built to have that. They're supposed to be our equal to help us out, and they're not supposed to be prideful. So when a woman steps into a male's world and their world, they are way out of proportion.
And then they don't help anything. That's where a coping mechanism comes into play, and that's where they have to then, if they want to break the unhealthy cycle of that coping mechanism, step into an AA cycle.
Absolutely. I mean, all people are in that room. There are males, females, bisexuals, homosexuals.
No. Everybody's there with something that they individually want to better.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen it, and they were entirely moved, and it was a beautiful thing. But the assurances are there, and they work the program. They keep working the system and the program. So they made you made a fearless moral inventory. You admitted to God, you admitted to yourself, and you admitted to somebody else. This is what I've been doing wrong. You're on the path of beginning to remake and remodel yourself to be structured to work in the world. So number 6 says we're entirely ready to have God.
Okay,
now I'm ready. Okay, I'm moving out. I'm not relying on myself anymore with my dumb decisions of doing this and that and this. God is the moral standard.
Okay, so that's good. I've got a question. Now that we're halfway through the steps and we're ready to have God, does that mean we've mastered the steps ahead of that to be at step 6, right?
So with these, the program has them start working out worksheets. And so on the worksheets, when they admitted to God and ourselves and other human beings the exact nature of our wrongs, they have to start listing some of those wrongs and the people they wronged.
Yeah.
And I think it's down, wait a minute. It's down in one of the other lists that they start doing it, but this is preparing them for that.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
Here it is, number 8. I made a list of all the persons we had harmed.
Yeah, we're on 6 though. I mean, 6. I understand you're jumping forward.
No, but are they ready for God? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're ready. They're ready to say that God is presently in my life and working right. I mean, he's now God's here. So
at the point that you're hard pushing back against the system, pushing back against a certain step, like your head's just hitting a wall. You cannot accept what you're being told. You're here. You're coming back. You're going through the motions. It's been forever, and I mean you're sober, but these steps these
don't go very fast. It depends on how hard somebody's heart is. If somebody has truly a heart of stone, they'll stumble on these and stay stuck into them. That's the system of whether they're going to make it out of or not. If they have had a hardened heart for so many years, these steps are grueling. This process is grueling. It's attainable, but they have a laundry list of going through this stuff. And if they can see the differences happen in a change in their posture a little bit with God, then they can say, well, I can do this. I do have the courage to keep pushing. I feel a little bit differently now.
So I guess that's part of the fact of acknowledging all those things and actually working on them.
And this is done in a setting
through
too.
Them.
It's done in a setting around people. You're in front of everybody. Like, you know how we know we're destined to help one another.
Yeah.
This setting is you're getting to hear the evidence and the experiences of other people who have been in the program for 5 years, 6 months, 2 years, or someone that visits and has a coin from 12 years.
Okay.
And comes and you hear this, that jumps right back to hope.
Okay.
And a lot of their stories are just incredible, of the heart of stone and then it was replaced with a soft heart, and now this is what I'm doing. And those motivational stories really
helps you believe in the process.
That process is working. Absolutely. Okay. And they're really true heartfelt stories, because you see anybody in AA, you see the doctors, you see the lawyers, you see the neighbors that are down the road. I never thought I'd see them here.
All parts of society.
All parts of society are in this program. Don't let anyone for a second believe that they're not. I'm too good to go to AA. No, you're not. You're just like every other average person, puts his pants on one leg at a time, that copes with the problems of life, and being a part of a community that is helping to ensure that this society is working and functioning. This is a great program. They have a great way to do it. And I like the way they do set it out. Would anybody else like to speak? That's what they say. Is there anybody else like to speak? And man, the room will just go pin drop quiet. And you can just feel the energy. Somebody wants to say something.
Yeah.
And you almost know it's that person over there. And you're just hoping they'll say something. And then maybe the next time you come back, that person's sitting in the same spot, and they will finally stand up, working these steps, and go. Whether they stand up and cry for 5 minutes and then turn around and go, hi, my name is such and such, and I'm an alcoholic, and sit back down. That was progress. That was progress. That was the courage to attack and look at what they had in front of them. Oh, and thank you. You did great. When we just tell it, and when you tell them, you did great. That was awesome. You did good. And you can see that person come back, and they're ready to tell more of their story. They're ready to tell more about what's going to happen. It's a great fun. It's fundamentally great. The people that created this program really got some wisdom when they brought it down. You want to move on to step? Where we at step?
No, we're step 6. We're halfway through. We can wrap this episode up. I am truly happy to have your guidance through this thing as somebody who sat through such a amazing process and has a story to tell with the fact of being the success story and how long you've been sober and everything else. Man, it's a pleasure to sit down and talk with you about it.
Well, I want to tell you one last thing about this. There are those that have entered in this program for whatever the reason, but I focus on this, that some of the reasons being whether they were made to go there, whether they knew that they had caused so much harm they had to be there, or whether they believed that this program would just help them out because someone in their life was suffering from addiction and attended it. It can help them out. I attended this program because someone I was close to me was suffering from it. And I took it as an opportunity to go and realize more about myself than I ever could have imagined.
Yeah.
I realized that I've had a facade.
Well, when you constantly take the time to do the self-work, and you're doing the self-work as often as they meet over and over again, and you're seeing the other people do such outrageous self-work, and you think of yourself and you're like, I'm not as bad off as that person. Even though you're probably worse, right?
Yeah,
you're worse, but you're comparing their addiction to something that you wouldn't mess with because they touched a more a substance that you think would be deadlier, or they were an actual felon, so they've got like some like evil in their heart that they're trying to fix, right? And you're like, well, I'm not that person. I don't have that type of evil in my heart, right? I'm just jumping on the conclusions, man. But everybody has an issue, right? And whenever you see somebody else with a completely different issue, and you're like, well, if they're able to do it, then I'm able to do it, and that's a powerful thing.
I was very, very far away from being an abusive alcoholic. I was more abusive to myself. I would just,
aren't we all?
Yeah. I was just more the consuming, and just lots of consuming. And so I was far away from it, and it still didn't matter. But I could relate to quite a bit of everything that went on. And I knew, and it's for anyone who has had, who has misused any form of anything, can benefit from this program. So,
all right, brother. Well, thanks for sharing.
Keep working the program. Yeah,
I hear you. I hear you.
It helps anybody.
Well, still sharp and still. This is Ethos of Silence. We're out.
Peace. If you need more information on veterans benefits, please visit our website at VFW-Post4224.org. That's Victor Foxtrot Whiskey, Post4224.org. All of our contact information is in the description of the video. Please email us if you have any questions. We now have a moment of silent prayer for those still in the battle, for our departed comrades, for those missing in action, and for those held as prisoners of war.